Okay, perfect. So we can start the session, I think. It's better like this. Okay, so welcome everyone to our Delf session for B1 and B2 level. So my name is Kim and I'm working at the Communication and Cultural Pole at Alliance Française de Bhopal. I'm thrilled to be your host today. So we have an exciting discussion planned for you about the Delf preparation, for you to be well prepared for the exam. Let's kick off the session by introducing our two esteemed guests, Ansu and David. So from the Alliance Française de Mumbai, we have David, the pedagogical director of the entire Indian network. Welcome, David.
Bonjour.
And from Indoor Bhopal, we have Ansu, our pedagogical coordinator and teacher. Bonjour. Bonjour, Ansu. So before we dive in, let's take a moment to explain to you today's session. So in a first part, we will have a short presentation of the Delf exam, exercises and examiners' expectation for you to pass. David and Ansu will give you their advice, their expertise, will share with us their expertise. And on the second part, we have a moment for your questions. For those of you who are not aware, we have a live chat that you can see on the right side of your screen. This live chat allows you to ask your questions on live. And for those who doesn't have access to the live chat, you will find on top of the screen a phone number, a WhatsApp phone number. So please don't hesitate to ask your question on the phone number. If you choose this option, please make sure to just write your name, the level, and your question. It will be way more easier for us to see all the questions like this. So we deeply encourage our viewers to ask your questions. So please feel free to ask. Feel free to share your comments, your thoughts about today's session. We will be really delighted to answer your questions. And I think we're done. I think we're good. So David, Ansu, your turn.
Merci, Kim. So I'll begin with the explanation of the Delf B1 examination. As like, for example, as in A1 and A2, you have the same kind of examination pattern. You have the 4 competencies that are going to be tested: compréhension de l'oral, compréhension des écrits, writing skills, production écrite writing skills, and production oral. Overall, you need to have a 50 out of 100 to clear the exam. And for each skill, you require a minimum of 5 marks. Let's talk about compréhension de l'oral first. So for listening exercises, it is based on 25 marks, and you have 3 exercises where you can have both open-ended and MCQ type questions. The kind of audios that you will get are some normal conversations, public announcements, some radio clips, and every audio is going to be played twice. Now, there is something that we need to mention here. Now that we are in the process of changing the exam pattern, the format of the exam, so it is possible that you may come across an exam where you have the new format. In the new format, you only have MCQ type questions. You do not have open-ended questions. Some tips and strategies. So normally for a normal pattern, the normal pattern that has been there since a long time, we suggest you to take notes, read the questions very, very well, and take notes. And during the second second listening skill, you can complete the replies and finalize your answers. However, when it comes to the new pattern, you only have the MCQ questions. You only have MCQ questions, and there we encourage you to just pay attention to the questions. I mean, obviously, you'll have a rough sheet. If you're more comfortable, take notes, not a problem. But here, because you have to listen to the document and quickly reply, just pay attention to the questions and the answers. And as and when you listen to the audio, just mark. To answer, you can put a cross inside the box. Also, one thing to note here that we often come across in these exams, if you mark more than one reply, you're not going to get marks. All right, so just give one reply. Don't tick two boxes. Also, we encourage you to at least write something, because there is no negative marking. So please go ahead and write something. You might get lucky and it might be correct. Moving on to compréhension de l'écrit. Again, it is on 25 marks. And depending on the paper pattern, you might have 2 to 3 exercises having open-ended and MCQ questions. It is not much different, so the instructions would be very well informed. Just some tips and techniques that we would like to give you. You read the instructions very, very well, see what is exactly being asked, and you are allowed to use the words from the document, or you can change the words according to your will. That is okay. Even if you copy the same thing, it is fine at this level. It's not a problem. For both of these comprehension, we will be testing your understanding skills. So spelling errors and small mistakes, they are not going to be considered that much, but it should be phonetically correct. In the comprehension, if you don't understand a word, it's completely fine. You just don't panic. Don't just read the whole text again. And the questions are also not going to be that centric on one word. They will test your general overall comprehension. Voilà. We move on to the production écrite. Now, for the production écrite, for the first time, like in A1 and A2, you had 2 exercises, but in B1, you just have 1 exercise. And for that, you have 45 minutes. You will have to write a text of 160 words. That text would be an article, and it will be on normal themes, on a general topic. Here, you will be asked to give your personal opinion, right? So you will have to give your personal opinion and also justify. You can be asked to describe, narrate, or speak about some facts. You will have to express your sentiments and also give some reactions if required. The type of questions that could come here are, for example, a reply to a forum on internet, or write an article for a newspaper. Yeah, those kinds of questions. You will have to write a text of 160 words minimum, but obviously that is the minimum word limit. You are free to exceed this word limit, but do not go too overboard, because that increases your chances of making errors. Some tips and techniques. You read the instructions very, very well. Make sure that you understood the sujet, the topic, and make sure that whatever is asked in the topic, you are including that in your production écrite. You will have to use the appropriate tone, formal or informal. Maybe if it's a letter, you have to write to a friend, use tu. Use a rough sheet and note down your ideas. This time, for B1 exam, we're expecting you to have an organized text. We're not expecting you to be super organized and announcing the contents and everything. No, but it has to be organized, right? And here, use some basic connectors. All right, so note some connectors down and use some basic connectors. Like you can use pronominative to make some complex sentences, and try using different tenses, subjunctif, conditionnel, which makes sense. At the end of the production écrite, make sure that you read the text again and verify all your mistakes, if there are any. Like, for example, if the verb is correctly conjugated with the subject, if the adjective is correctly accorded, all those kind of things. Just verify it very, very well. We go on to production orale, the format. In production orale, you will have 3 parts. It is for 25 marks and goes on for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. You will have 10 minutes of preparation only for the 3rd part of the exam. We'll go in detail with each part. The first part is, entretien dirigé, se présenter. So give a small presentation about yourself, who you are, what are your likes, what are your dislikes, why you're learning French maybe. Just a small introduction about yourself, and the examiner is going to ask you a few questions related to your domain of comfort. The second exercise is a pretty interesting exercise in production orale. Here, the examiner is going to ask you to pick 2 topics, to read those 2, and immediately to do a dialogue on one of those. And these situations are going to be a little inhabitual, not very comfortable, and it'll put you in some difficult situations. Be polite. You don't have to be rude. Just make sure that you are very polite and reading the sujet very, very well, and politely giving your arguments. So every time you will have to justify different situations. For example, if this is one of the very common situations where you're sharing a room with a friend, and he's not doing his daily chores, so you have to go speak to him, right? So you have to give some arguments. So it is necessary to do that. We are both sharing the room. Please understand that I'm also working. Some small arguments like that. Then finally, you have the third exercise, that is expression d'un point de vue. That is a monologue. Again, this is the part that you will be preparing. You will be picking two topics, out of which you have to choose one. Read the topic very, very well. And in your monologue, you will be required to present the topic in very, resume the topic very easily, very simply. You don't have to go over every single line and explain what that means, but general theme of the topic, what the people are talking about, and that's it. And then immediately you go on to give your own ideas, your own opinion on that topic. The opinion has to be personal, and it has to have some examples, some personal life examples. Make sure that you're either choosing one of the sides, either for or against the topic, so that it is very clear where you stand on that topic. Voilà, ça c'est pour bien, that's all. David is going to help you out, explain the topics, explain the format of the B2 exam.
Okay, merci Ansu. Bonjour. So we're moving on to the presentation of B2 exam. So just like any other level for Delf, B2 is divided into 4 sections. You have compréhension de l'oral, which lasts about 30 minutes. So depending on the old or new format of the exam, you will have 2 or 3 audios. So the first one is usually pretty long. It's between 4 to 5 minutes long. So you really should read the questions before you listen to the audio. You will have 1 minute before the audio is played to go through all the questions. So do make sure that you read those questions so that when you listen to the audio, you know what you have to listen to exactly. So that's going to help you in choosing your answers. And then whether the second one or the third one, if it's the new format, this audio will only be played once. So you only have one chance. So then again, do read the questions before you listen to the audio so that you don't miss out on any information. Then for compréhension des écrits, it's going to last 1 hour. So again, depending on the old or the new format, you will have 2 or 3 documents. Then you have production écrite, where you have one exercise, which you have to write in 1 hour only. And then you have production orale. So just like for A1, A2, and B1, the overall passing criteria is 50 out of 100, and you need to score at least 5 in each skill. So we're going to go in details over the production écrite for B2. So 25 points. So you have 45 minutes or 1 hour, depending on the format. And this time you have to write 250 words, so minimum. So it's a long text that you have to write. So it has to be very structured. We'll talk about this in a few minutes. So in this exercise, you have to do a prise de position personnelle argumentée. So that means you have to write a formal letter or short article or contribute to a debate where you have to present arguments in a formal and logical manner. So once again, do read the instructions properly. Make sure that you understand everything that is asked of you. And also underlining the key points in the instructions will help you not to forget anything when you write your essay. So this for this kind of letter, you have to use a formal tone. It's going to be a formal letter, so make sure that you learn the formule de politesse formelle. For example, you can use at the end of the letter, you can use je vous prie d'agréer mes salutations distinguées. All those formules de politesse. So just learn one or two by heart, and then you can use that at the end of your letter. Don't try to improvise on this. List and organize your arguments to illustrate your point. I want you to be very careful with this, and so that we're clear. Arguments are not opinions. Arguments are used to reinforce your opinion, to convince your reader that what you say is right. So this is very important. And again, this is B2 level. You have 250 words to write at least. So you need to help your reader, follow your thought process, follow your ideas, make sure that what you write is, it makes sense and it's logical. So use connectors, a lot of connectors to help you. Dans un premier temps, dans un second temps, ensuite, although it's a little simple, but you can use those connectors such as néanmoins, en revanche, de plus, en outre, do prepare a list of connectors that you can use, and also it's B2 level, so we expect some kind of complexity in your use of the language. So make sure that you use complex sentences with the different pronoms relatifs, dont, auquel, duquel, and so on. Use different modes, subjonctif, conditionnel, impératif. Just show that you have some mastery of the language. And again, do read your text at the end after you're done, especially because you have so many words to write. And with the stress, the time constraints, and all those factors, it's very likely that you'll make, just simple errors in your text. So do read your text again at the end and correct your, the few errors that you may have made. So just to give you an idea of the structure that we are looking for here. Again, the idea is to help the examiners follow along your reasoning. So you can present your thoughts using a plan thématique. So you organize your arguments by theme. Let's say if you have to write an essay in which you need to explain why we need to let go of plastic. So first, in your first paragraph, you can put all your arguments which are related to the environment. So you explain all of this, why we should, stop using plastic for the environment. Then in the second part, you can use arguments explaining why it's important for our health. And then in the end, you can mention the economic factors. So organize your ideas by themes. Another way of organizing your thoughts is using a plan analytique, where in the first paragraph you're going to present a problem that is given. Then in the second paragraph, you're going to explain the causes of this problem. And then in the last paragraph, you'll give some possible solutions. And then another way of organizing your thoughts is using a plan comparatif. So it can be a simple yes, no, type of plan, or it could be a comparison in terms of, geographic differences, like here in India and in a different country, or it can be a temporal comparison, like before, now, and in the future. So do make sure that you are clear on those different ways of organizing your thoughts, because that's the kind of structure that we will be looking at when we read your essay. And also explain your arguments and illustrate them with a clear example to prove your point. Again, I'm reminding you, arguments are not your opinion. They're used to reinforce your opinion. So that's very important. And also to give you a few more examples of how you can organize your thoughts. So for example, if you have to write a short article, such as Courrier des lecteurs, so in that you'll be given a little, the instructions will tell you that you read something in a magazine and you want to react to that. So when you start your article, you can use any formule d'appel like cher lecteur, chère lectrice, chers auditeurs, and so on. Then refer to the topic that is given, and then explain why you want to react and give the structure of your essay. So that is the plan. As Ansu said earlier, in B1, we don't expect that announcing of the plan, of the structure you're going to follow. But for B2, since it's much longer, do write the structure that you're going to follow in your essay. Then you have your essay where you have your arguments and examples and everything. And then at the end, write a conclusion which sums up your arguments and your opinion and everything that you have talked about. If you have to write a formal letter, such as a lettre au maire, lettre à votre employeur, and so on. So that, again, the instructions will give you the what you have to do. So for that, first of all, you need to follow the structure of the formal letter. So you do have to mention the expéditeur, the person who sends the letter, the destinataire, the person who's going to receive the letter. You can mention the date and the place and so on, and then the objet of the letter. And again, formule d'appel. So if you're writing to your employer, you're going to say Monsieur le directeur, Madame la directrice. If you're writing to the mayor, Monsieur le maire, and so on. And then just introduce yourself and explain why you are writing. And then you have your essay where you have your arguments and the possible solutions depending on the instructions given. Again, write a conclusion and formule de politesse, what we were discussing a few minutes earlier. So, je vous prie d'agréer l'expression de mes salutations distinguées and so on. So, this is very important. In B2, I really insist on that. The structure of your essay is it's a big part of the grades that you'll get. So now moving on to production orale for B2. So again, 25 points. This time you will have 30 minutes to prepare and the exam will last 20 minutes. So here, this is new for the first time in Delf exams. We are not going to ask you to introduce yourself because introductions are pretty basic. So B2 level, we just jump right ahead into the heart of what we're interested in, which is seeing how you can reason in French. So in this oral exam, you will have to first do a monologue suivi with présentation à défense d'un point de vue. So here you'll be given a subject. So just like B1, you'll pick out two sujets, you'll read them, and then you'll choose one. And so you have to present the sujet and give your opinion about it in a formal manner. So that is for about 5 to 7 minutes where you have to speak about that subject. And then for the rest of the exam, you will have the débat with the jury where it's going to be more of an interaction. In B1, it's more of a question and answer type kind of interaction, but B2, it's a natural conversation. So it's not going to be exactly questions and answers. We want to take the discussion further. So for this one part, it's important that you you present your ideas in a formal manner. It has to be structured, just so make sure you use connector and so on to help the examiner follow along what you're saying, and then you'll have to answer the examiner's question. So here we expect you to introduce the document. I mean, it has to be more complete than what is expected in B1. So again, organize your presentation in a logical manner. Like I said, use connector, organize your thoughts, and don't hesitate to announce what you're going to talk about. And you can also indicate when you're moving on from one idea to the other. The idea is to help the examiners follow along what you're saying. Here you'll have to end your presentation with a conclusion that not only sums up your point of view on the sujet that you'll have, but also you can open up, you can branch out the topic, the discussion to something that is related. So in the last part, in the debate, if you don't understand what the examiner is saying, then that's fine. You can ask the examiners to repeat what they're saying or speak slower. And that's it for B1 and B2 explanations. Merci.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Ansu. Okay, so you will find here the link to the resources. You will find exercises and all that. So you can see on the live chat that you will find the link on the live chat, and additionally in our bio. So thank you a lot for your sharing, for the short presentation of the Delf exam. I'm sure a lot of people have questions, so now I'm going to introduce you the questions. So for one question we have okay, so the first question is, do the questions repeat from past year papers in B1?
They should not. It happens that the same sujets come back, but it happens after 2 or 3 years. So it's not like you'll have the same paper as the last session. That won't happen.
Okay, thank you. From this time, are we having new format for B2 needs of?
It's a surprise. You'll find out on the day of the exam.
Okay, bonjour. What is the list of monologues for B1 and B2?
The list of monologues, the themes you mean? Okay, maybe that person means the themes. So for B1 and B2, still, we are going to be in your comfort zone, but we are going to also talk about the society. You can think of A1 as a small dot, you. A2 is a little broadened, and B1 is a bigger zone, and B2 is you, your family, your society, and the world around you. So the themes could be from environment, from technology, health, a lot of different themes are there.
Okay, thank you. Another question, is it necessary to take notes during the compréhension orale?
Necessary, no. Advised, yes.
Another question, is there negative marking for any Delf exam?
Not till B2.
Okay, perfect. Is there absolutely not subjective or one-line answer in B1 compréhension de l'oral? Sorry.
So subjective answers, no. You will not get any subjective answers. They won't ask you to give your opinion. Now it depends on the type of exam, the format of the exam. If it is the new format, you will not have to write anything. If it's the old format, you might have to write single line answers. So that depends on the format of the exam.
But all the questions will be based on what you hear. There won't be any subjective questions as such.
Okay, perfect. Somebody is asking, should I learn the format of letter?
That is a good question. Just be familiar with both formats. For example, the links that we've given you for the sample papers, it follows the new format. And what we do in Alliance, we train the candidates with both formats, so that they are familiar, and so that no matter what format they have, they'll be able to answer. So be familiar with both formats. It's better for now.
Okay, thank you. Falini Gala is asking you 3 questions. One about the CEO, how many audios and for how long? One about the compréhension écrite, can we copy exact phrases from the passage? And the third question is about the production orale, usual theme like.
What was the question for production orale, Kim?
Production orale is usual theme like. She's asking example.
Well, it depends on the level. In B1, you can have 2 to 3 documents. 3 documents normally. In B2, 2 documents. So for which level, could you again reply and just specify for which level are these questions for, and we'll be happy to reply.
Okay, she was talking about the B1 exam, sorry.
All right. So in B1, you have 3 exercises in your écoute, in your compréhension de l'oral, and in compréhension des écrits, you can have 2 to 3. It depends. If it's a new format, you'll have 3 exercises. In the old format, you have 2 exercises.
And also for B1, the audios are usually 1 to 2 minutes long, max. And you have 1 minute before the audio is played the first time to read the questions. And then between the first and second listening, you have 30 seconds to check your answers and start answering and all of that. But no more than 2 minutes long for B1.
Yes, and concerning the themes, I can probably detail it, make it more detailed. So you have themes such as vacations. You have to talk about vacations. You have to talk about learning the French language, learning foreign languages, the social life, the familiar life, the family life, the student life, the professional life, whatever concerns your hobbies and your interests. You can have questions and topics on les voyages, so all your trips, all your journeys, your travel, on the health, and also sometimes on transports. You obviously have technology and environment and working from home now that it's a new trend.
Okay, thank you, Ansu. Another question, how long is the monologue supposed to be for B1?
It's about 3 minutes. About 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So a question for David, actually. The B2 production oral, is it okay to use only basic tenses correctly?
It is. It is. But it's B2 level. So like I said earlier, we expect some kind of linguistic complexity. That means if you only use simple sentences, it's okay. But you won't get close to the higher score of 25. That's how it is. So the more complex sentences you'll use, and just show that you have some kind of control of the language, will give you extra points for that. So if it's basic, simple sentences, you'll have B2. But the more complex sentences, the better your grade.
Okay, the person added, is it okay to not use the subjunctive?
Again, we're not asking you to use subjunctive, to use conditionnel. it all depends on the kind of topic that you have, and the kind of discussion that you need to have. So it's not like we have a checklist of présent, subjonctif, imparfait, all of that. It's not like that. It all depends on the sujet. Like if you have to give solutions to a problem, then you should use conditionnel. Like on pourrait, on devrait, things like that. So it all depends on what you're saying.
And also, if I may add, we are not going to evaluate what you haven't done. So if you haven't used conditionnel, it's not like we're going to reduce your marks. We will evaluate what you have done.
Yes, that's what we call positive assessment. So we focus on what you do well. So the more you do well, the better your grade. But we never focus on what you do wrong. That's not how we assess.
Okay, thank you. We will be giving time for preparing for monologues or dialogues or debates during exam, or would it be spontaneous?
For which level is this? If it's for B1 level, you'll have 10 minutes of preparation for the monologue. For B2, you have 30 minutes of preparation.
But for B1 level, for the second exercise where you have to play a situation with the examiner, that it's right there. I mean, you're going to select the sujet with the examiner. You will have 1-2 minutes max to think about your ideas and what you're going to say, but that's it. No more than 2 minutes max, and and you'll have to play the situation right there.
Okay, thank you. I have another question. David, you said that students are supposed to say the format of the production écrite. And somebody is asking if they had to write on top of the essay the format, like if it's a letter or...
No. No, it's it's given in the instructions, so no need to mention it.
Okay, thank you. For level B2, where can we find sample sujet and answers for production écrite and production orale?
In the links shared with you in the chat.
Yeah, you will find everything. You will find the resources in the live chat and also in the bio and also on the screen just here on your left. Okay, so I have another questions. For B1, how to get the link? No, sorry, the same questions. Well, actually, it's the same question. So here and on the top and on the live chat, you will find links. Another question is it necessary to speak fluently in monologues or dialogue?
Well, being fluent is very subjective. You should speak efficiently.
Yes, and also one more thing. Do take your time, breathe. That don't sometimes with the stress and it's a formal exam, so you're going to be stressed out. No matter how prepared you are, you're going to be stressed. So usually students tend to they try to rush through everything, so it won't help you because you're going to get lost, and we won't be able to follow along what you're saying. So take your time, breathe. Just don't. And also one thing that is very important during production orale, take simple notes. Do not write everything that you're going to say, because otherwise you're going to read, and this is not what we're assessing. We're assessing expression orale, not reading. So it's important that you have brief notes of your main ideas. Maybe you can you can make sentences for your introduction and conclusion, but the rest, it should be just few ideas that you jot down, and so that you can go through it. And when you present your monologue, you actually look at the examiners. Don't just read your notes, because that won't feel natural. So take your time, don't read your notes, just try and be natural. It's fine. You don't have to, rush when you're speaking.
Okay, thank you, David. What are possible questions for production orale?
What are the possible questions for production orale?
Yes, and I don't have the level, so sorry.
So I guess it's during the débat avec le jury. It's always going to be related to the topic that that you have chosen. Don't worry, we are not. It won't be tricky questions. I mean, we won't try to get specific knowledge. You know, if it's about the environment, we won't ask, you know, like very difficult questions. We just want to see that you're able to talk about a subject which is, you know, of general interest, like something about current events and everything, that you have some ideas about it. We'll maybe, if something is not clear in your monologue, we'll come back to that and we'll ask you to, you know, rephrase or explain what you were trying to say so that we understand better. But otherwise, it's you know, the idea is to have a conversation. We're not going to try and trick you with complicated questions.
Okay, thank you. Somebody is asking you if you could elaborate more for the introduction of production écrite, production orale, sorry, for B2. Can you repeat what you said?
Sure. So in the introduction, you should you can present the document. Usually it's a small article with it, so you can introduce the article, where it comes from, and what it talks about, generally speaking, and then you can give what we call problématique, which is a question, and that's the whole point of your monologue. You're going to answer or give answers to the question that you give. So I mentioned earlier plastics. I mean, the use of plastic and reducing the use of plastic and everything. So it could be, you know, you present the article, what it talks about and everything, and then you put across your question. What would be the benefits of reducing plastics in our daily lives? And then you're going to present your different arguments. So it's like that. But it should not take, I mean, you have to talk for 5 to 7 minutes. So your introduction should be maximum 1 minute long. No, not more than that.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you. For B1, for compréhension de l'écrit, is it okay to exceed the word limit?
For compréhension de l'écrit, well, if your answer is there, yes, but don't write the whole paragraph. If you exceed the word limit too much, then as an examiner, we cannot assess whether you have understood the text or you've just written the whole paragraph. So be precise, but yes, you can exceed the word limit a little bit. There is no word limit per se.
Okay, thank you, Ansu. In B1, somebody is asking if they can have like letters like reclamation letters or letter de motivation.
No, not in B1, no.
Perfect. What are the steps to write production écrite to get good marks, both level?
Read the question very well. Stick to what is asked. Check again and again, make a few grammar mistakes, like not many, and use some connectors and make sure that your ideas are very well organized. That is the most important thing, the organization of your text.
And I think what's the most important for you is practice. If you sit at the exam and this is the first time that you're going to write an essay in French, regardless of B1 or B2 level, obviously it's going to take you time, it's going to be complicated, and you'll score less. So practice. You can also have a list of connector for to express cause, to express consequence, to express addition of ideas. prepare those lists at home in advance so that on the day of the exam you don't really have to think about it. It's there, you know it already. So yeah, I think the key here is practice and get someone to give you feedback on what you write.
Okay, thank you both of you. Could you please repeat the two formats of letter for B2?
Yeah, so you'll have either a formal letter, which is addressed. Usually, it's I mean the person you're writing to is kind of the same all the time, but the subject, the topic that you have to discuss will change every time. So formal letter, you write to the mayor or you write to your employer asking for something. There is a problem, and you want to take it up to the mayor and ask the city hall to do something about the problem. So this is for the formal letter, and the other kind would be courrier des lecteurs. So this is kind of a short article. Usually you'll have a topic which is published in a magazine or something, and the instructions will ask you to respond to that article. Like, you have read this article in a magazine and you respond to give your opinion about it. So that's the two different formats of the production écrite.
And if I may add, David, for B2, practice two kinds of letter very, very well. That is lettre de protestation. So what you have to do is basically the government or someone in authority would have taken a decision, and they will ask you to be not okay with that decision. So you'll have to present the arguments and convince the person not to take that decision. And the second kind of letter would be lettre de proposition, where you would ask the person in authority to bring something to your city, probably organize an event or something, and you will tell them why it is important. So both these letters require convincing.
Okay, thank you. Another question, can you please give us a brief on how to study for B2? Is the B2 Cosmopolis textbook enough, or should we cover B1 textbooks for topics and read extra articles on current events, etc. online?
Well, textbooks are never enough. Let me explain. If you stick to the book only, you might pass with 50. But what is going to make the difference is all the effort you put into surrounding yourselves with the language. Like, listen to podcasts. On smartphones you can access podcasts from RFI, from France Inter, from TV5 Monde, everything. So surround yourselves with the language. Read articles in French. Just don't stick to the book only. I mean, that's what makes the difference between B2 with 50 out of 100 and B2 with 80 plus. That's how much effort you put in surrounding yourself with the language.
Okay, thank you, David. A question concerning the B1 compréhension de l'oral, concerning the third écoute. The third écoute, is it long as well as we have enough time to write every information is there, or is there any trick to get in?
Yes. So what I suggest is practice. And when you're practicing, when you're listening to the audio, do not write the whole sentences. You won't have time for that. You rightly said that. But you should be able to recognize the keywords. Don't write some small letters like ilia and mem and la and a. Just ignore those. Just write whatever is important. You don't need to make full sentences when you're taking notes. You just need to understand, okay, so this is what's being said. Write a few words. That's all. Don't try to make full sentences.
Which is why it's important for you to read the questions before you listen to the audio, because that will give you clear hints into what you need to focus on when you listen to the audios.
Okay, thank you. I have a specific question. If there is an opportunity to take the Delf B1 exam in Alliance Française de Calgary, will there be any difference in the grading as compared to how it happens in India?
all over the world, it's the same thing.
Yes, it's the same everywhere.
Okay, thank you. Hello, is there a new format for Delf B2?
Again, you'll find out next Thursday when you appear for B2.
Okay, another interesting question. Is it okay to use filler words like during production orale? Will the points be reduced for it?
Not at all. If it comes naturally to you, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, for B1 production orale.
Sorry, maybe I can just come back to that a little bit. The use of fillers is a good thing actually, because it allows you to, it gives you more time to think about what you're saying. So as long as it sounds natural, fluid, and everything, that's good. That shows that you're actually putting a lot of effort into what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and everything. So it's you won't score better, you won't score less. It's just it's part of any natural conversation. So that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Somebody's asking for how long the monologue in production orale B2 should last. How long?
Monologue is usually 5 to 7 minutes, not more than that.
And she's also asking, she or he is also asking about the types of subject, the subject they can have for the both exercises for the production écrite et production orale.
So like we mentioned for B1, the same themes are there for B2 as well.
Yeah, could be anything related to the environment, to working from home, to new technologies, to higher studies, the higher education system, current events, things that are, so that was what we were saying earlier, that we will never trick you, we'll never ask specific knowledge. It's, current events that are common to any society. So, anything related to working from home, higher education, the environment, and all of that. So it's not, you don't need to have, particular knowledge into those topics.
Thank you. A question for the B2 comprehension orale. Are we supposed to take notes while listening for the first audio, or try to solve some questions simultaneously with the audio?
It depends on you. We won't tell you what to do. We can only give you ways of doing. So it all depends on you. If you can answer the questions directly and not get lost, you should do that. If you're comfortable with that. Otherwise, if you prefer to take notes and then go back to the questions and answer them, then go for that. It all depends on you. We all have different strategies. So it's up to you. Just know your own strategy and stick to that.
Okay, thank you. For production écrite B1, can we use simple tenses?
You need to master simple tenses. So present tense, passé composé, imparfait. We don't expect you to make errors in this, but we are also looking for a little bit more. We are also looking for example, something very common in B1 is to give advice. You have to donner des conseils. And for that, you need to use conditionnel. When you are not sure about something, probably a little subjunctive here or there would increase your marks.
And again, B1, we don't really expect you to not make errors when you use subjunctive for conditionnel. But at least we should see that you understand that you should be using subjunctive or conditionnel in it all depends on the subject, the topic that you'll have. But if it requires conditionnel, we should see that you try to use conditionnel. That will, it will help you when we assess, when we grade.
Okay, thank you. If there is any format for courriel for Delf B1?
No format, just start writing with share or something like that. Share someone, share lecture, and just start writing. You won't be assessed on the format.
Is the old exam format still followed for Delf B1?
Yes, we do not know whether it's going to be the new one or the old one. Even we don't know. So we find out on the day of the exam.
The only difference in the format is the type of questions that you'll have. In the old format, you have open-ended questions, and in the new format, it's only MCQs.
Okay, another interesting question. Is it okay to struggle with the R sound in production orale?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. We're not expecting perfection in when you speak. I mean, having an accent is totally fine. And actually, I with my students, I keep telling them that they should keep their accent. Even I have an accent, and that's fine. It's our it's our own. It's part of our identity. So that's, we don't look at perfection in the when you speak, but it should be understandable, and we should not, especially from B1 onwards, the examiners should not have to concentrate too much to understand what you're saying. So even if you don't have the correct pronunciation for re, that's okay, no issues. You won't lose points because of that.
Okay, and we love accent. Thank you. So, bonjour. Are there any specific topics for expression orale in Delf B2?
Same. Yeah, it's the same. B1, B2, speaking, writing. It's always the same kind of topics that you'll get.
Okay, thank you. Is there any site to go through the articles for l'expression of a point of view, niveau B1?
There's actually many websites you can use, which will give you tips. So first of all, you can use with the links that are shared with you. So this is France Éducation Internationale's website. So this is the branch of the French Ministry of Education, which is in charge of Delf and DALF. So there you'll have sample papers, you'll have tips and strategies. So this is a good place to start. Otherwise, there's a few other websites that are good. For example, there is Partageons, Delf, which gives some pretty good tips and examples. There's thousands and thousands of videos on YouTube. I just warn you, be careful when you look at those videos, because you never really know who made this. And it could be someone who's not an examiner, not an official examiner. So use the official channels, France Éducation Internationale, Partageons DALF. TV5 Monde might have some sample papers. So use the official channels for that.
Perfect, thank you.
Also, to understand that, you could listen to the radio, because normally when there are debates, people do express their point of view, their ideas. So go to RFE. RFE is amazing. You can learn French using RFE. So go ahead and use RFE and understand how the French people, exactly the natives, are using the language to give their opinion, and maybe try to replicate that.
And also, we have a lot of questions about the topics and everything. As I was saying earlier, just surround yourselves with French. That's also part of it, because if you listen to the radio, they're going to discuss those topics, the environment, access to higher education, working from home, all of that. So not only you will get more familiar with these topics, but you can also get ideas and arguments and examples from all of that. So it's not only to train you with your listening skills and reading skills, but also it will give you more content, more to discuss. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there any congratulation letters to come in B1 writing? Sorry.
Any congratulation letters? No.
Okay, I have another questions. Okay, the audio for B1 comprehension orale will be very fast. Is the question.
It's not going to be very fast. And sometimes if you feel it's very fast for you, for your level, do not worry. They're going to speak so clearly that even if it's fast, you will be able to understand what is being said. Just prepare well. And the key is to practice, practice, and practice.
Okay, somebody is asking about, like, the person is at the end of the level A2 and they wanted to prepare themselves for now for the Delf B1, B2. What extra should I do to improve my production orale?
They're completely different levels. I mean, it's very difficult to answer that. You'll have to take some classes or practice on your own. It's a lot of effort. There's a big difference between A2 and B1.
Usually B1 level, if you take a course, the course will be between 150 hours up to 220, 30 hours. So if you've reached A2, I advise you not to appear for B1 right away. You should take some classes or work on your own. Study on your own. Either way, it's up to you. But don't try and appear for B1 directly. It will be too much.
Okay, we have three questions left. How can we prepare for the production orale?
Same as production écrite. Practice is the key. You can do it in your bathroom, looking at yourself in the mirror. You can record yourself. So then after that you can listen to what you said, and maybe you can detect some errors, or just things that you can improve, and practice. I mean, if you're taking classes, don't sit quietly in class. Be part of the conversations, because you practice all the time in class. So be active in the class, participate, and that's how you improve. It's you get better by doing. In French, we say c'est en forgeant que l'on devient forgeron. So it's by doing that we get better. So practice.
And one more tip, don't be afraid to speak. Please don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid of making errors. We as natives, we make errors in our mother tongues. French people make errors when they speak French. It's completely fine. Our objective is to communicate. And if you're able to communicate well, you speak the language.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so hello, what do I do if I cannot remember a word in French which is absolutely necessary for conveying my message?
A very interesting question. What do you do? So change. If it is absolutely necessary, for example, imagine that I forget the word travail. Then I can always change and I can replace the same word with activité professionnelle, for example. And just change your sentences, go around it. Yes.
Okay, really nice. Activité professionnelle sounds so fancy. Okay, last question, guys. How to practice speaking French when you have no one to practice with?
Well, I want to say that this is the 21st century. It's with technology, you can there's plenty of websites where you can practice with other learners. There's online communities where you can get in touch with people, but it kind of relates to what Ansu was just saying. Don't be shy. You need to, and that's the whole point. I mean, you're learning a language to be able to speak it, so that you can interact with others. So if you're not following a course, or if you don't have anyone who speaks the language in your surroundings, that's fine. Go online. You'll find that online. No issues.
And don't hesitate to contact Alliance Française, obviously. We offer some conversation classes as well.
Okay, so if you had anything to add, do you have anything to add because it's the end of the session? Okay, perfect. So thank you everyone for watching us today. Please, Rima, thanks our dear guest, our esteemed guest who took time to present the Delf session and took time to respond to all your questions. Don't hesitate to share your comments, to share what you thought about what you think about the today's session. And I really want to deeply thank you, both of you, Ansu and David, for your time, for your insights, and for your expertise. So before we end up the stream session, please don't forget to follow our channel for future updates and sessions. Tomorrow will be a session at 12 p.m. Concerning the Delf preparation for C1 and C2 level.
In French.
In French, it will be in French. Okay, thank you a lot and bye.
Merci, King. Merci, David.
Bonne chance. Bon courage.